if somebody hasn't already made their resolution, why would we choose failure as a New Year's resolution?
Sure. Full disclosure, I got that idea from John Acuff, so I'm not original. I just want to get that into the universe
Sure.
in case our buddy John Acuff listens. So, one of the things that plagues everybody, and it's not just churches. I think sometimes churches think they are fully unique unto themselves, and the reality is there are things about a church that are unlike any other industry on the planet. For example, churches are the only industry I've ever seen that has a weekly deadline. It's always Sunday, right? The NFL has a weekly deadline for like 20 weeks out of the year. Churches have it 52 weeks out of the year, right? So nobody has a deadline like churches. But at the same time, the challenges, the frustrations, the hurdles, all that happens in business too, right? It's a lot of the same stuff. You've seen it too with your work. And so I think what happens is a lot of people tend to be plagued with ambition. We see what other people are doing. We see what's new. We have our great ideas, and the turning of the calendar of a new year. Now that we're in 2020 and everybody can have all their 2020 visions for churches, right? Now it's 2025. We're pushing it out 5 years because we didn't hit our 2020, but I digress. And so we have all these things. The problem is, though, we never stop and think about what should we stop doing? Like, what should we eliminate? Because if you look at people who are the greatest in the world at what they do, regardless of what they do, I'm talking everybody from Jay-Z to Tiger Woods to Disney. I mean, you name it, whether it's an individual, an athlete, a brand, whatever, the best in the world tend to be laser focused on what they do really well, and they forget everything else, right? And in order to be more effective, we've got to limit what we're doing. So when I talk about failure as a New Year's resolution, it's being willing to say, what am I going to stop doing? What am I going to take off my plate? What am I going to say no to? And these are good things. How do I say no to the good things so that I can say yes to more of the best things? All right. So for example, obviously a lot of people that are listening are probably Apple fanboys and Apple fangirls, right? We have all the Apple things.
Yeah.
But if you look at a brand like Apple, they have admitted something, some things that don't work. Like, people may forget Apple had a social network. Remember Ping? It was their social network within iTunes. Now, if Apple wanted to, they could probably dominate that space, but it would take too much resources, too much time, too much diversion away from their core offering of great hardware and great software that's integrated really, really seamlessly better than anybody else on the planet, right? So when it comes to churches, we have to be willing to say, what am I going to say no to so I can say no to more things so I can say yes to the right things? And that's hard because, especially when we're in communities online and other groups of people like us in our roles in different churches, there's sometimes a little bit of bigger, faster, stronger mentality. We have to keep up. They're doing this, so we should do that. We should try to pursue this. We should try to get this done. And there's almost like there's a philosophical pressure on people. Now, I say that because if you're familiar with the story brand framework at all, one of the things we talk about is every brand should solve a problem, right? So I'll talk a lot about brands like CarMax is a great one. Chick-fil-A is a great one. They solve multiple layers of problems. Right. Because in a story, it's never just the problem, the surface level issue, like the bomb's going to explode. It's always the bomb's going to explode and the bomb's underneath an orphanage and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was an orphan and now he's missing his leg because he stepped on a landmine, and can he defuse the bomb? But he was mocked in middle school. And there's all these layers to stuff, right? And so there's always this kind of philosophical fundamental issue. And so I think in churches, we think that we have this philosophical pressure of we should be doing all the things. We should be on every social network, even though our church is probably only 600 people. We should kill the bulletin because somebody else did, when in reality, bulletins are great. We shouldn't have a church app because somebody says we shouldn't, or we should have a church app, or there's all this pressure. And so I think if we can do it and say, okay, I would much rather kill some stuff and stop doing some things and be willing to try and fail and say, okay, nope, I'm going to put that over here so that I can be better at these things here. For example, at a church, you might need to say, hey, or here's an example. I worked at a church one time where the pastor kept saying, we have to invest more energy on Twitter. I like Twitter personally. It's the only social network where anybody can connect to anybody really, really easily, and conversations can get really fun. The kinds of connections you see between celebrities and normal people happens only on Twitter. It doesn't happen anywhere else. Right. It's really kind of fun. All the cool stories are from Twitter. But we were like, we're a church of 1,500. We have 142 followers. Take out the staff, it's like 135. Why are we investing on Twitter when we have an audience on Facebook? It's like, oh, we need to reach people on Twitter. But why? Like, I like Twitter. It's just our audience isn't there. So why don't we invest in Facebook and Instagram and nothing else, right? Why don't we invest in Facebook and Instagram and our email list, right? Let's be willing to say yes to the right things and say no to everything else.